Braids, Laniac, man, Spider, Bloody Mary, all of them are gone. Except me, all of them are gone. All of them are gone.
Yeah, a lot of them got killed as a result of that record though. On both sides.
So that record caused a lot of murders?
A lot of murders. Girls, guys, yeah.
Me in the flesh, on the full clip, new record.
Yeah.
We just gonna wait till she get in the booth, where she go wild.
Yeah, right.
Like Clark Kent, got the glasses on.
She never hit #1 on the Billboard charts, never grabbed the platinum record, but ask any real hip-hop fan about Bloody Mary and they'll tell you straight, she was the real deal. She had the bars, the voice, and the energy that could light up a whole room. Her verse still stands tall as one of the coldest in gangster rap history, but sadly, the world never gave her the full shine she earned. The mainstream missed out big time, but in the underground, she was already a legend. To understand the fire that was Bloody Mary, you gotta start with Rajni Falks, where she came from and how far she had to fall before the streets of the West Coast made her who she was. Born July 21st, 1970 in Steubenville, Ohio, Rajni grew up far from the gang world that would later shape her life. Steubenville was calm, blue-collar and quiet. No gunshots, no sets, no gang ties in sight. She had never seen that kind of life before. But everything flipped when she moved to Compton, California. That wasn't just a new city, it was a whole different planet. One minute she was a small town girl, the next she was walking through a war zone between Bloods and Crips. Compton didn't play around. Every street had a story, every block had its own history, and the city didn't wait for you to catch up. You either adapted fast or got swallowed alive. That's where her transformation began, in the middle of the madness. But behind the rise of Bloody Mary was a deeper, darker reason she dove headfirst into the gang life, one that would change everything.
Tweety Bird came up with the concept of banging on wax. Me and Tweety Bird took it to Robert Lewis, which was his studio. So he took the idea to Ronnie Phillips, and then that's when the album was made, that's when history was made, and that's when they f***ed us over.
Even though parts of her story are still whispered through the streets, they paint a chilling picture that never fully faded. Word is, according to people close to her like DJ Battlecat, something tragic might have happened to her either right before or right after she hit Compton. That kind of trauma can twist your soul, make you dry.
I didn't know half the guys, but they came there, no violence. I mean, it was a little confrontations, but when everybody understood, hey man, we're here to make records, we're not here to fight and kill each other.
That could have been the very moment Rajni Falks was reborn as Bloody Mary. She didn't just join the Peru Bloods, she embodied them. Her main crew was the Avenue Peru gang out of Inglewood, which was wild because they weren't even from Compton. They were the first Peru set to branch out. But even if she wasn't born on Compton soil, her loyalty to that red flag was solid to the core. Bloody Mary was locked in with the Avenue Peru Bloods, but she also built strong ties with the Fruit Town Perus on the east side. She wasn't just talking tough on tracks, she was living every single word. Her lyrics came from experience, not imagination. Every verse had scars behind it. What makes her story even crazier is how her journey into hip-hop began. It wasn't her blood homies who brought her to the mic. It was a Crip, a rapper named Tweety Bird Lott from the Kelly Park Compton Crips, spotted her before anyone else did. He caught that fire in her, their raw hunger, that fearless walk, that street-born confidence, and knew right away she was something special. Tweety Bird Lott knew she had something special, that raw energy that couldn't be faked. He linked her up with producer Ronnie Ron Phillips, the mastermind behind Dangerous Records. At first, Ronnie Ron wasn't feeling it at all. A female rapper on a hardcore gangster rap project, that just wasn't the plan. But Bloody Mary didn't care about plans. She made her own. She pulled up bold, confident, and ready to prove she belonged. She demanded to be heard. No waiting, no begging, just pure presence and power. And what came next? Nobody saw it coming. The year was 1993, and LA's rap scene was on fire. NWA had already exposed the city's gritty truth. Ice Cube was dropping knowledge with every verse, and Snoop was turning Longby slang into smooth poetry. But underneath all that mainstream buzz, something real was brewing, something born straight from the streets. Gang members were starting to feel like rappers were cashing in on a life they never lived. They were tired of what people call studio gangsters making millions off pain they never felt. Out of that frustration came a wild idea, one so bold it sounded impossible. Two men, OYG Red Room 78 from the Avenue Peru gang and Tweety Bird Locke from the Kelly Park Compton Crips came up with a vision that could have only been dreamed up in the trenches. What if the Bloods and Crips came together on a record, not to shoot at each other, but to battle with bars instead of bullets, real lyrics instead of real funerals, maybe even a shot at real record deals? They took that idea straight to Ronnie Ron and pitched it as a way for real gang members to finally get paid without having to spill blood, turning street beef into studio heat. 16 people straight from the streets came together to make history, 8 Bloods and 8 Crips, dropping raw truth for the whole world to hear. That project became Banging on Wax, and right in the center of it all stood Bloody Mary.
He wanted me to diss my enemies, to diss the red side, and all these different things. And I was like, man, that's crazy. I was like, what you people trying to do here? Like that's crazy. I wouldn't even be able to.
She picked her own name, something dark, fearless, and unforgettable, a name that carried both power and pain. But bringing Bloods and Crips into the same studio, that was a whole different kind of war. At the start, nobody wanted to even stand in the same room, let alone make music together. The tension was thick, like you could feel it in the air. Crips sat tight on one side, Bloods on the other, hands never far from the heat that they brought in. Tech 9s, AKs, 357s, the same tools they used to survive outside those walls. Producer Ronnie Ron Phillips had to play peacemaker every second, reminding everyone that inside that booth, the studio was neutral ground. Whatever beat they had, it had to stay on wax. No bullets, just bars. It wasn't easy, but somehow it worked. Against all odds, the whole album came together fast, about 2 weeks flat. When Bangin' on Wax dropped on March 9th, 1993, the streets exploded. This was no fake story rap, it was the real voices from the blocks people only heard about on the news. Every verse came from lived pain, real struggle, and hard-earned survival. Both sides threw lyrical shots at each other, but for once, they agreed on something huge. Rapping out the war was safer, smarter, and way more powerful than spilling blood in the streets. The album shot up to number 86 on the Billboard 200, something nobody ever saw coming. By the time the smoke cleared, it had sold over 500,000 copies, going gold. For a raw underground project made by real people from the streets, not industry artists, that was massive. It proved one thing loud and clear. People were starving for the truth. Not the polished, sugar-coated kind, but the real, unfiltered sound of the streets. And Bloody Mary was all over that album, stamping her name in hip-hop forever. She tore through tracks like Rip a Cram in Half, No Way Out, and CK Ride. But her true legacy came from one track, Peru Love. That song wasn't just a blood anthem, it was a cultural shift. Built over a smooth, funk-heavy sample of Zapp and Rogers' Computer Love, it hit different. Soft in melody, deadly in message. Peru Love featured 4 blood artists, Lil Stretch, Red Room 71, Lil Leak, CK, and of course Bloody Mary herself. It became the crown jewel of that Bangin' on Wax era, the song that defined everything that movement stood for. But what made it legendary was Mary's opening verse, a verse that still gives chills to anyone who knows real gangster rap history. In just 16 bars, she laid out a blueprint of the entire Blood universe, name-dropping almost every active Blood and Peru set across Los Angeles County. No filler, no weak lines. Every bar hit like a street shout-out, full of precision and respect. In one breath, she took listeners from Boston Boulevard to Pasadena, calling out dozens of sects like she was reading straight from the holy book of Peru history, raw, fearless, and unforgettable. She kicked off her verse with pure fire. Now in the bitty of Bolton, Limehood is down with the mob. Hollywood and Cross Atlantic off of Bumpin' Boulevard. Every town has an Elm Street, but not a Freddy Krueger. Don't get caught in the jungles or a park called Looters. She wasn't just name dropping for shock. Every word carried weight. What she delivered was a lyrical map of Los Angeles, so detailed that anyone who really knew the city's gang layout could tell she was speaking straight facts. She wasn't faking it. This was her world and she painted it line by line. Then she kept going. On Roseney's Pass Island at the light. Treetop is to the left. Fruit Town is on the right. 151's in West Side Peru, Slade Pass Dark. And the only other blood hood is Campanella Bar.
Basically, where do retirement papers come in, blood? At what age do I turn into a kickback OG gangster or some old shit? Man, that ain't gonna never happen, blood. My goals in life ain't to be an OG, period. For real, YG for life, huh? I mean, on lanes, nigga, I'm all YG, period. That's
Each line was a landmark, a guide through the real streets of South Central, Line Hood, Hollywood, Cross Atlantic, Elm Street, Treetop Peru, Fruit Town Peru. These were her people, her reality, and she didn't stop there. She gave love to hoods like Bounty Hunters, Outlaws, Rolling 30s, and Six Deuce Brims. She wove it all together. Cabbage Pass, Center Park, Harvard Park, Hawthorne, and Waterfront. She even reached out to Pasadena, shouting out avenues, Bloodstone, Inglewood Family, The Pueblos, Bloodstone Villains, Black Pea Stone, Circle City, and Eastside sets. Her verse wasn't just rap, it was a living map of unity, struggle, and survival, all wrapped in 16 bars of pure power. Bishop's got it going on. That's how she kept the energy rolling. And then came the closing bars that everyone remembers. A line so fierce, it stamped itself into street history. With the MGs, Queen Street, V&Gs, ain't no stopping the village town. Eastside Pain, Crenshaw Mafia, Bebop Watts, City Stones, and the Skylines. Don't say cause, cause blood, this is Peru all the time. That was her mic drop moment. Pure confidence and power in one breath. But she wasn't done shocking the world yet. In the next verse, she dropped a line that made heads spin everywhere. Peru is Crip in reverse, but the C's on his back. That single bar was legendary. Her deep booming voice hit like thunder, turning those words into something bigger than music, like she'd written a thesis on gang culture in one punchline. That verse didn't just echo through speakers, it echoed through neighborhoods across Los Angeles, making her one of the hardest, smartest lyricists to ever grab a mic. But here's the twist that made Peru Love even more iconic. The smooth, catchy hook that everyone fell in love with wasn't even sung by a blood. It came from Eclipse, a Crip out of Compton. That one move said everything about what Bangin' on Wax were trying to prove. No matter how deep the street rivalries ran, the music stood taller in the war. Bloody Mary didn't just make her name, she carved her legacy into hip-hop history. She wasn't just another woman on the record, she was the one sharpest and fearless voices to ever rise from that gangster rap era. With Peru Love blowing up in the underground and the streets chanting her bars, she was ready to level up. By 1994, everyone knew her name, critics respected her pen, and the world was paying attention. That's when she dropped her debut solo project, She's Dangerous, under a new alias, Nene X. It didn't storm the Billboard chart, but that wasn't the goal. This was her proving ground, her moment to show she didn't need a crew, a gang cipher, or anyone else beside her to dominate the beat. She proved she could stand on her own and still shake a whole room without backup. Even before her solo drop, Bloody Mary had already been making serious noise beside Crip-turned-producer Tweety Bird Locke.
Her story is more than music. It's legacy, struggle, and resilience all in one voice that refuses to be forgotten. Rest in power, Bloody Mary, the real one who turned pain into poetry. If you felt her story, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment below. Keep her legacy alive and let the world know the Queen of the West will never fade away.